Is this out of frame?
I push myself to be a hippie woman who can birth at home.
Hey, fuck it, I'm birthing. So, it has been a hot ass minute since I've created a video, and a lot has changed since the last video. As you can see behind me, this beautiful piece. I don't know if you guys can actually see it well. This is a baby's crib because I am now a mom. I am a mother. And not only is that completely life-changing, and I'm here to share my story with you, but it is extra special to me because of the way I chose to birth, and that is a free birth. So there's a huge story, a very yummy, delicious, lots of learning and lessons and trust and surrender and all of the things. And that's what I'm here to share today, is my story, my free birth story. So if you don't know what free birth is, basically it is you birthing on your own. So Corey and I, we birthed our baby here. It was just me and him. There was no doctor, no nurse, no doula, no midwife, and I couldn't have been happier. I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more proud. I couldn't be more empowered. I couldn't be more fuck yeah about my birth experience. And so I'm here to share it, and I'm just sharing my experience. I'm not recommending anybody to do the same. I'm not here to give you any medical advice. Please do not think that I'm like, hey girl, you should do this too. Absolutely not. You have to make your own decisions that feel right to you and your body and where you're at in life. This is just me being the goddess that I am and expressing my life and my story because I want it to be known, because it's a beautiful story. So I'll start by saying that this is our rainbow baby. I did experience a miscarriage, and I won't go into it in this video. I'm not sure if I feel the need to go into it, but just I think it does give context, because this story, like I said, it's full of lessons that I had to learn and that I was growing into, and Corey and I together, like, we really learned a lot during this pregnancy and the journey and in the birth experience. So this wouldn't be a Tanya video if I didn't have a little yummy drink. I'm already like halfway through of it. Isn't this fun though, these jars from Amazon? But this is Nespresso, the Melozio blend. I chilled it, put it over ice, added some Trader Joe's brown sugar oat creamer. There we go, brown sugar oat creamer, and vanilla almond milk. Okay, so this is hitting. It usually, like, I go through this and I drink it in like 5 seconds. Okay, so I knew from the jump that I wanted to have a home birth. I also knew from the start, that I would have this home birth with a midwife, right? That was the plan originally. And I would take all of the things I learned from her, from like during the pregnancy visits, the prenatal visits, and then during the actual day of birth. I had planned that I would take everything from this first birth experience and first pregnancy experience, and then the next pregnancy, the next time I got pregnant with my second child, I was like, I'm going to free birth, okay? And I found out about free birth, the first time I ever heard about it was from the God of Earth, just a girl on YouTube who explained that she free birthed, and I was like, what's free birth? And so I watched her video, and I remember it resonated. I was like, yeah, birth is natural. I remember hearing her talk about how she just gave birth at home with her man, and I was like, yeah, duh. This is the feeling that came over me, right? I've been perioding. I've been menstruating my whole life. Literally preparing for birth my whole life. Why would I need help all of a sudden with birth? You know, I even thought about it even in a more vulgar way. I was like, who would help me take a shit? Like, no one helps me shit, right? If I create this being inside of me, my body did it. I don't know how, but somehow it did it. So somehow it's going to get it out, just like your body will create your bowel movements. And somehow your bowel movement moved through you, no matter how big or small. And so that was my deep feeling. This wasn't me like,
I'm gonna push myself to be a hippie woman who can birth at home.
not that at all. It really just felt like, I don't know, this just seems like, I mean, birth is literally the oldest thing that exists. So my sentiment, my feeling the whole time was that this should be natural. So I found myself a grandmother midwife, just looking online. I'm in Georgia, did like the consult call. I only consult called with her actually. Everyone else was either booked. And then once I had that first one with her, I was like, she's the one. So there's different types of midwives. You can look up that yourself, but she's a grandmother midwife. So she just is basically all experience, no formal training. That felt good to me because I'm someone who, I do not like going to the doctors. I'm really not about Western medicine. And yeah, the allopathic medicine is just not my vibes. I just wanted someone who was gonna be like, yep, I'm just here to like basically watch you. Like, I believe your body is good enough to do it all. And I'm here just to watch you and assist you and support you on this journey because it is new and I have experience, blah, blah, blah. So my midwife has, what's it called? Dreads down her back. She's a short, cute little black lady, just adorable little grandma, and had been doing births here in Georgia since the 70s. So I was like, okay, this woman is chock full of experience, and I just went on the vibe. That's just how I am. I'm not a very big like science data fact checker kind of person. I go how I feel. And when I talked to her, Corey and I on the call, I was like, yeah, she's the midwife. I'm not talking to anyone else. And the way she sets hers up is because, again, she's not trained like professionally. She just has years of experience with births. She still has you go to your OB simultaneously while you work with her, okay? So I would go to her checkups. We would go to the checkups there. I would go to the OB, and we did it like that. Until around the time where like the tests start getting in more intensive, I knew I was gonna start skipping things at the OB. There we go. There were certain tests that I didn't want to take, so definitely certain shots and things I wasn't gonna get. And so I just started like saying to my OB that like, oh, something came up, I gotta cancel, and then never rescheduling. And meanwhile, I was still like getting my vitals taken and just getting like, they would come, I would go to the midwife and she would like feel the baby, feel the belly, ask me how I'm doing, all that stuff. Then I had this issue with my insurance where they weren't sure I was eligible for the insurance I was on. And so I didn't have insurance for like 2 months. And so during that time was when I actually needed more blood work, right? Like the GBS test, the blood work. I did the glucose test with the midwife. We just did it with like grape juice, and she was able just to prick and see the glucose level, and I was good. But yeah, so blood work and the GBS swab test, like all that kind of stuff, I knew I was gonna need an OB for. So I started to be in this odd position where once my insurance came back and the claim was settled, OBs would not take me, okay? The obstetrician was like, oh, you're past 30 weeks, you're past 32 weeks, you're past this many weeks. We don't take patients past this point, especially because you don't have, you had this gap of care. Like the care that I have my grandma midwife doesn't count. It's not like, she can't send records over. And so I started to like experience a lot of friction because I would be calling offices and everyone would be denying me. So that like took a hit. So like there's a lot of fear that is like programmed into birth. So like the whole experience, I'm like managing my own anxieties of am I okay? And just tapping in, like, is this okay? Am I okay? And that was really important, that I became my own compass. It's very much like, okay, how are you feeling, Tanya? I'm breathing, I'm walking, I'm eating, I'm pooping. Like, if I feel good, then everything is good and the baby is good, is basically what my framework was about pregnancy. But it was tested and challenged when, like, the grandma midwife, she was like, well, I usually have women go get these tests and you don't have them. And OBs were like, oh wow, you're so late in your pregnancy and you haven't been seen, like, because of my gap in care. And there's so many little things. I mean, I had shingles at one point, y'all, and I didn't have an OB, and I just had to go to, like, urgent care, and I had to take medicine for it. You know, I'm not a medicine girl unless it's, like, absolutely necessary. And obviously with the shingles, I was like, okay. So I had to, like, learn balance. You know, you don't have to be all one thing, right? Is this out of frame? Or not out of frame, out of focus? My midwife shares around the 39-week mark, perhaps, that she does not deliver babies past the 42-week mark. Okay, actually, I might have been 40 weeks actually, and this was shocking to me. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it could have been in her contract, but I just probably didn't remember. But it was like my team was falling apart. And I'm just like, wait, you're supposed to be the crunchy grandma midwife, hippie, flowy. What do you mean you have rules? Then you would drop me. It wasn't even like I felt like I needed her. I just felt like I was like disappointed that she would do that to me. To me, having a midwife, having another woman who knows about birth and who, like, guides women through this process, that's, like, intimate. But around that same time, when she was like, oh, you know, if you go past 42 weeks, I won't be able to deliver your baby with you. Corey, he was like, do you have any resistance to giving birth? I think because, like, time was going, we were both getting really antsy. And I was thinking to myself, okay, where do I feel resistance to this birth? I wasn't scared. I honestly felt very excited to birth. Like, to me, I viewed birth as like a plant medicine experience, okay? Like, you will be going on this trip and this journey, and that's how I plan to view it. So I was actually really excited to meet birth and to have my own experience. Like a healthy amount of fear, but not like scared. I actually wanted it to come. But where I did feel resistance was to who would be there at my birth. So this whole time, the whole 9-10 months, I had been seeing my midwife once a month, and it goes up to every 2 weeks. But I realized I never truly connected with her. And honestly, she was very very chill, and that helped me because that matched my vibe of like birth is a chill, natural thing. But she was too chill. Like, she didn't remember things about me. She wouldn't even check my chart when I would go to when I would go to visits. Like, every visit she would be like, is this your first or second kid? And every visit she would be like, oh, what about your OB? And I'd be like, remember that insurance thing? I don't have an OB. Just asking like the same questions. So I started to realize I felt distance from her. I felt resistance to her and her assistants actually being present at my birth in my home. I felt like they would be in the way. The whole point of a home birth is I get to be naked, walking around the house, room to room, crawling, growling, in the bath, out the bath, in the tub, whatever. I didn't feel like close enough that I could feel fully free to be in my primal body around these women. And my initial thought about that was like, oh, Ton, you need to get over that. Like, it's time just to like let go of like caring what other people think. And I was like, this is just something I need to get through just to be more confident and be like, hey, fuck it, I'm birthing, you know, and just like recognizing that no one's judging you, like they're literally there to support you. That's what I initially thought, and it was something just for me to get over. But then as she explained that, yeah, I'm not gonna birth, I'm not gonna be there for you after the 42-week mark, and she sounded so casual about it, I was just like, dude, like we've been preparing together, like how could you even say that so casually? And then finally got an OB to see me. It was one that she recommended, like a friend of hers would actually see me. And we did some blood work. My blood work came back and I gave my midwife my results and she was floored. She was like, I haven't seen like hemoglobin levels this great since blah, blah, blah. Like, wow, you're doing so good. Your blood looks really good. But then she started scanning and she looked at the platelet area and she said, wait, why don't they have results for your platelets? They didn't test your platelets. And again, I'm not a medical professional, but all I know is she said that basically knowing the platelet numbers is really important because that shows how well you are your blood clots. And she didn't have that. And so she started going into the whole spiel like, oh my God, it would be so irresponsible of me to still deliver the baby if I didn't have your platelet level numbers, because like blood clotting is super important. At this point, when I got the results back from the OB, we're like a few days away from me being 42 weeks. We get these blood work results and she's like, I don't see the platelets. You need to go to like any labs or LabCorp and go get new testing. But let's just do some simple math here. Like by the time I go get the test and everything, I'm gonna be 42 weeks anyway, right? And you're not gonna see me anyway. All that to say is like, I think around the time that she started to express that doubt that she wouldn't be there, I in my spirit started to think, okay, maybe this is actually a sign that the free birth that I wanna do for my second child, I kept saying, is this child. This is my free birth. Distance that I felt, the resistance and distance to my midwife, it grew and grew and grew. And I was like, okay, this is not the way it's supposed to feel. I talked to Corey and I throw it out there. I'm like, hey baby, like maybe we just do this on our own, like for real. And he was on board. If my partner was not who he is and was not completely on board, there's no way I could have done this. We were a complete team and unit bringing this baby in together.